Hey, you true believers. Chris Mack coming at you today with Green Lantern Corps, issue 41. I have to say, out of all the Darkest Night books, and they are a lot, Green Lantern Corps, chef's kiss. Because Tomasi just knows how to write characters. And just like how Claremont said, and I know I've mentioned this 1,000 times, but you know, the action is secondary. You want to care about the people's lives. Because, yeah, there can be action in any book, but if there's no stakes or personal connection with the person you read on the paper, who cares? And I will say this, I've never even heard of Iolandi, I think is how you pronounce her name. Never heard of her before. But because she's kind of become integral as she was introduced at the beginning of the Blackest Nights, flying to Oa with Kyle, Guy, and Natu, I think she's a badass. And then, of course, Natu, she became one of my favorite Lanterns after reading Blackest Nights. It's been a while since I've read this, but from what I recall, I kept reading the Green Lantern Corps for her, Arizia, Guy Gardner, and then, of course, Kilowog and John Stewart. I was about to say John Gardner. I'm like, that sounds so wrong. And then, of course, Kyle as well, but Natu really sealed it for me because she was just like one of those up-and-coming characters. And here, her and Yolandi trying to protect the sick from the Black Lanterns. And she goes, don't let the armors rebuild. Try to keep burning them back. I'm not sacrificing anyone. Maybe I can find a way to surgically remove. And then again, as we found out, the way the Black Lanterns feed is by feeding off as much emotional resonance that they can get off of their victims. And just this opening page as she's trying to save one of the sick lanterns. Blech, very remnant of Alien, even though it's a severed Black Lantern hand ripping the heart out of this guy. And you're just going, ugh, that is rough stuff. Speaking of Hungry Heart, Peter J. Tomasi story in words, Patrick Gleason pencils, Rebecca Bookman, Keith Champagne and Tom Dugan inks, Randy Mayer with Gabe Elitib, colorist Steve Wands, letterer, and there's everyone else working on the book. And even when all seems lost, again, Natu and Iolandi teaming up and just ripping these Black Lanterns apart long enough so that they can try to get the sick and injured out. And while that's happening, here comes Guy against this dude, which Kahan, I think's his name. He's trying to take out Jordan. And yeah, you can see how the Black Lanterns use the memories of the dead to try to work emotional feelings. There's even one point in the next issue of Blackest Nights that we will go over where you can kind of see that there's only so far the Black Lanterns can go in terms of bringing up memories. Now, with that said, again, we focus on Iolandi and Natu, and just look at this. They round up every one of their sick and try to leave Oa. She goes, we're going to take him to Mongo. And they're like, let us fight. No, we're not going to let anything happen to you because if something happens, you're just going to become a Black Lantern. But before Natu can escape with Iolandi, she sees Kyle in the clutches of Jade. Now, listen here. It says, how can so many people be dead and you're still alive? Why do you get to bury everyone, Kyle, and no one gets to bury you? So, of course, Jade, there was another lover somewhere in there. I kind of can't remember her name. But then one of his first loves that we were introduced to, which was Alex DeWitt from Green Lantern issue 54, volume 354, where because she was seen with Green Lantern, the guy that was looking for Green Lantern killed her and stuffed her in a refrigerator. And so just to kind of relive this scene right here, it's some hard stuff to see. We have gone over Green Lantern issue 54, and I'll leave the link somewhere in these cards so you guys can check it out after this video. So Jade, seeing that he's full of will, rage, she goes, I think it's time to change all that. It's time for you to die, Kyle. get away from him. Again, Natu just coming in as full-on badass. And she still tries to play on it, but she sees the love, rage, will, and she goes, oh, you got it bad, girl. Because she notices how she feels for Kyle, because even though these two haven't exactly admitted it, but they feel it. Shut your mouth, you delusional witch. That's rude, Kyle. Now aren't you going to introduce me to your new girlfriend? I don't think so. Did you tell her you're a liar? I bet you're a heartbreaking boy who didn't tell you it wasn't your sweet little face he saw on the gleaming sapphire crystal. And he goes, how does she know about you? I'm Jade, the love of his life. I know everything about him. Do you? Here's how it always ends, you know, for Kyle's girls. And rather than succumb, not to in a sense, say, I believe, if I'm wrong, make fun of me down in the comments, but I believe she's the daughter of Sinestro. And I like how she just kind of has that spitfire attitude of him and Hal Jordan. She goes, I thought he told you to shut up, and just rams her power ring in this monster's face. And then we cut to Arisia, seeing how her family's trying, the Black Lantern version of her family's trying to get as much emotional feeling out of her. And they're just using every trick in the book, saying, you know, for hundreds of years, our family has served the core. Is this any way to, you know, begin a family reunion? And they say, this is how you repay a father's love. You use all these lantern skills and knowledge I taught you to oppose me. I hope we'd have a daughter who would build on my achievements as a lantern and earn the respect and honor of the Guardians. You are our chance at immortality, the continuing proud tradition of service, but you've been nothing but a disappointment. And the way she finally puts them, not down per se, but just the way she's able to finally wipe all that out of her mind and know who she is a great moment. Same with Kilowog. Even here, seeing all of his trainees falling in a literal rain of blood. He goes up against someone from his past that he looked up to and respected. And even then, before he succumbs to uncertainty, to fear, or anything like that, Kilowog stands up for himself, knowing full well who he is. Now, if you guys have been following us, the last couple of issues, there's been a Yellow Lantern named Crib who's teamed up with the Sapphire named Miri Riem, I believe is how you pronounce her name. She's looking for her babies. And, yeah, her poor babies make an appearance in this issue, and it's rough to read. So, guys, Green Lantern Corps at this time was a time to be alive. We had Johns on Green Lantern, we had Tomasi on Green Lantern Corps, and it was just a perfect pairing, just how we had like with Jurgens and Tomasi on the Superman titles. This is one of those times, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. Can't talk highly enough about this run. So if you guys have enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever it is you like to get your comic books and action figures. Grab this series. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate it if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little central battery power button next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with you and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.